President Biden is heading to Brussels today to meet with NATO allies, and on his way out, he reiterated that Russia's potential use of chemical weapons in Ukraine is, quote, a real threat. And there he is, boarding right after leaving the White House today. Secretary of State Antony Blinken announced that the State Department has made a formal assessment that Russian forces did commit war crimes in Ukraine. Senior national correspondent Terry Moran is traveling with the president. He joins me now from Brussels, where the president is due to arrive very shortly. Terry, what does this announcement mean about Russia did, in fact, commit war crimes?
Well, it's the formal finding of the American government, Diane, after the president had said that in his personal opinion, he thinks Putin is a war criminal and that war crimes are being committed. I think everyone around the world, just looking at the video, all those shells and missiles slamming into apartment buildings and schools and hospitals, those are war crimes. There are other war crimes that may be going on down on the ground with people who are being detained, abducted, perhaps even transshipped to Russia against their will, their passports taken away. What this substantively means is it starts the gears going, the wheels running on an American investigation, which would come in support of, to some degree, with the International Criminal Court. Of the United States is not a member. The United States can bring its own resources to what is going to be a massive investigation. Now, it's important to remember, having covered a bunch of war crimes trials in the past, that unless Russia somehow loses, it will be a statement about the criminal conduct of Russia, if in fact the evidence shows that, as it seems to, and it'll be hard to get at the individuals. It'll restrict their movements around the world. Perhaps President Putin won't be able to go many places, but all that is in the future. What this does, this announcement that the State Department believes that Russian forces have committed war crimes, is it gets American investigations going that can support what also might be a Ukrainian investigation into crimes committed on their soil.
And Terry, Biden is expected to meet with NATO and European allies before he then heads to Poland to address the refugee crisis. A top national security aide says he plans to announce some new sanctions against Russia this week. What do we know?
Well, these are additional sanctions. Russia has been sanctioned more than any country, any major economy, certainly, in history. There are some loopholes, though. Unfortunately, these sanctions that are being announced by the president, probably when he gets here tonight, won't close the major loophole, which is that energy money. Russia's still getting billions of dollars and euros from people for selling its gas and oil. What will happen today is the United States is going to sanction members of the Russian legislature, hundreds of them, the lower house, the Duma it's called. They will be sanctioned, and that's new as well. Once again, trying to tighten the screws, not just on Russia, but on the Russian ruling class, as it were, to try to get some pressure that would persuade them to stop this war. But right now, Putin clearly pushed all his chips into the center of the table, and there's no indication that sanctions or no sanctions, war criminal designation or not, he's going to stop.
And the White House also says that the first deliveries from the $800 million in new military assistance Biden authorized for Ukraine has started to arrive. What's the latest on how that's going?
Well, that is a major contribution by the United States to the Ukrainian Defense Forces. Look, they need it, obviously. They are outmanned and supposedly outgunned, and yet because they are more nimble, more opportunistic, better disciplined, and perhaps more motivated, they have, at the very least, stalemated Russia on the battlefield, if not actually in some places taking back ground as well. So this $800 billion American aid, military aid, from Stinger missiles to more Javelin anti-tank weapons, to all kinds of ammunition and small arms to keep that force primed and ready to go on the attack, because you can't really win on defense. That's going to be absolutely critical for the Ukrainian forces. Right now, as I say, this is clearly a stalemate. Russia came in with all of its forces, and they are barely gaining ground, losing ground in some places. And so the United States wants to make sure that the Ukrainian forces have absolutely everything they need. They are still asking for planes. Their Air Force has done remarkable in the skies, more than a fraction of what the Russians have in terms of plane. They haven't lost as many, but they want more planes. So far, NATO has not provided that. That is going to be a big ask that President Zelensky has. However, the major thing that President Zelensky has asked for, which is a no-fly zone over Ukraine, that is still not on the table, according to the White House and other NATO allies. They just think it's too risky. It would involve the United States and NATO allies in direct confrontations with Russia, risking a war with Russia, and that is something that the president has said he will not do.
All right, Terry Moran in Brussels for us. Terry, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.